Hello everyone, welcome to my new map, the Long Wall. As you can see, it is quite long compared to 10 Holes of Hell. Now, you thought 10 Holes of Hell had a lot of tech. Well, you are not ready for this one. I went absolutely crazy in the tech this time around, and in terms of gameplay, this is significantly harder than 10 Holes of Hell. I'd say 3 to 4 times harder. In fact, it's no longer about the tech. It's about creating something unique and powerful. As of now, I've not verified it. It's so hard, in fact, that I don't think I'll be able to verify it for a while. My PB is right here. This is about, I'd say, halfway through the map. So I am getting there. And I'd say that this jump right here, this is probably the hardest one. We'll get to that later. So the whole gimmick of this map, as you can see, is there's a lot of zip lines. And zip lines are quite broken in this game. So we go to the first obstacle, and you have to get to this one stud gap right here. You just have to hug the wall and jump. Nothing too special. And this grip will hold you. This grip is not required to do this section, but it makes it significantly easier. When we go on to this section, there's a grip down here. It used to be a release, but basically the whole gimmick is that this can magnetize you. I bet you could do that with some obvious skills, but this is just a nice, easy section. No clear gimmicks. But as you can see, one very clear thing that you'll see throughout this is I'll use this big, long crumble throughout it. This next section is a little bit of a messy one. It's a bit of a freestyle. All you have to do is get from point A to point B. How you do it is totally up to you. There's a number of ways, like what I just did, but you can do it numerous ways. Now this is where the text starts to get built in. Yeah. What did I just do? Well, let me explain it first. Now, as you remember earlier in 10 Holes of Hell, you'll remember hole preservation. This is what I've called it. This is what I called it. Hole preservation comes in many forms, as you will see later on. But what happens is that you spawn in a specific place, which happens to be right here, and you get dragged to the grip because you're out of bounds and you need to be reset. So if I fall out of bounds, I'll be reset here. But as you can see, I carried the momentum of my fall with me. So with that, I get reset in my position, but I get flung out because I start to go and hug against this wall, and I can actually make this jump. This is another gimmick present in 10 Holes of Hell. We have this under the block. This is significantly harder, and it does require very good timing. Yeah, we get one of these. Pretty basic maneuver. Another use of the hold crumble. Let's count how many times we use this crumble. That's our second time right here. And we do it yet again. This is a little bit of a more finicky one, as you can get stuck there. But you go into this position. Now you might think you have to jump early, because this looks like a very uncomfortable position. But all you have to do is press space. Do not press forward, or else you will hit the climbable too early. And just like that, you get over here. Now the path isn't very clear at first. You might think you have to go there. But all you have to do is, there's this little hidden zip line over here. Jump up, and you'll be sent. And this is the second glitch of the day. If you contact a hold of any type on a zip line, you get an extra jump afterward. And of course, we have another one of those. But let's first get to the zipline thing. I really want to emphasize this because it is a little bit strange. I get an extra jump very clearly. I get a double jump basically after touching it. And I'm going to use this a lot more. Go onto this crumble. These little out of bounds things prevent you from going directly to the grip. Instead, you have to go into the crumble number 3. You get sent to this section. This is a very easy jump, nothing too hard. We now go on to this jump right here. It has a zip line with a grip at the end, and we use the same glitch from earlier. This time with a timer spacebar, so we actually get the extra jump. As you see, I have to basically go around and land into this cylinder. What makes cylinders especially interesting is if you go on the just a little bit off, you suddenly just slip off. So you have to really be directly on top. If you go a little bit the side, damn, your run is cooked. Now you will fail this plenty of times with doing this run. Just like that, we use the crumble a 4th time. And we're about to use a 5th, because what we have to do is climb down and go onto this crumble. Okay, I kind of messed it up. That was my bad. Bam. There. Okay. And then you suddenly get on the slope. As you might remember from earlier, slopes push you down, but if you're in between 2 slopes, you get pushed up. Now this section is a little bit complicated. This is by far the most unsight readable section, I think. It's not something I can fix. It's a bit of a forced setup. You're going to see several forced setups throughout this map, and this is one of them. So you have to not lose all your stamina, but instead you have to basically make sure you have enough stamina to grab the grip, and basically have to just go for it. And if you do it correctly, you'll ragdoll. You need to ragdoll into this grip, or else you won't be able to get it, and you get sent back up to here. To emphasize that very clearly, if I just slip on this, I won't be able to grab the grip. That's just not possible. Sometimes you will, but as you saw, I had to literally clip into the floor. And even then, you still have to make that jump. And you want to position yourself on the left. I'm trying to really grab this grip. It's hard. And this is not a particularly good position. You want to basically drop directly over the left side, and suddenly you're in a pretty good position to make this jump. Damn, I'm kind of quick today, I'm sorry. But you go onto this. Now this jump is a little bit deceiving in difficulty. You might think, okay, I can just do that. But there's a lot of ways you can get this wrong. If you land too high, then you slip off. If you don't get the jump correctly, then you just won't make it. You have to really flick onto here. And now the most hardest part. I measured this out, as you can see on screen. This has about 6 frames of room for error. And basically I call it the triple crumble regrab. Or just triple crumble. You have to basically grab the crumble 3 different times on 3 separate occasions. It's a really difficult trick, but it's somewhat consistent. I mean, you can execute it every single time. It's about 0.1 reaction time, which is pretty good. So it is a bit of a major roadblock. At the moment, this is my PB. I just cannot lock in and get it. I did it there, but as you saw, I didn't nearly have enough time. So I'll cut to when I get it. There we go, I pulled it off. That took a lot longer than it should have, but that's fine. I am a little bit sleepy at the moment. I don't expect myself to get these very consistently. Now this next part is a little bit of funny troll. So it might be a little bit unobvious to you, but you're supposed to get there. But the troll is, people might think you have to get there somehow and try to climb off. So how do you get to there? Is you're supposed to basically, okay, don't do that. That's not a good idea. Well, the whole gimmick is that you're supposed to climb on this 2-stud, climb down a little bit, and make it to that hold over there. It's very difficult and kind of unforgiving, but you're able to loop yourself like this. So it's about keeping a steady hand and not losing nerves, which is always a good test of skill, I'd say. You want to be a little bit far, climb down, and eventually you'll get it. This used to be significantly harder, I do have to say. Okay, I finally made it. That took a while, to be honest. Now this part is where things get a little goofy. The title right there. So you have to wrap around to this grip. It's a pretty basic obby skill, but I'd say if you're not familiar with obbies, this is actually a ridiculously hard jump. And finally, we have to do the fling. Oh, that's not what we wanted. So you want to position yourself like directly below, and you're supposed to fling yourself to this hold over here. Now, as you saw, I kind of went flying. To avoid that, you want to press space as late as possible. And this feels like luck, but I promise you that there is consistency to this. It's just a matter of being in the right place. So you could keep repositioning yourself until you get where you want. It's really about positioning. Okay, there, I finally got it. That feels inconsistent. I do admit it is a little bit inconsistent, but there is a mechanism. I probably should put a mechanism to make that net in some way. This is just a simple wrap. Over under. So what we want to do is get to the zip line, and we do another one of those hold preservations by pressing space at the right time. And because we're holding something, we won't be kicked by that out of bounds. So this is not something you can try again. You only get one chance. So there's a lot of pressure on the line with this obstacle. So if I go like this, boom. I missed it, so I get thrown into the out of bounds, and that's not good. However, if I'm good and get my grip, I'm now standing with a hold preserved. And what we want to do is take this over here and get onto the top of the long wall. Now you might be wondering, there's two zip lines, where do I go? Well, this is a bit of this force setup. I'll get to this later. But what we want to do, the intended path, is we want to get a hold, and then we'll be ejected out to the side. So we need to keep doing this until we get it. Now, if you don't go in the right position, you immediately lose. So this is a little bit of a noob trap, I'd say. You have to practice the map, or else you won't get it. A little bit of a maze. The red indicates. And it's a bit of a anti... You can't go back. You're basically locked in. So we go into this thing. This is the more of a finicky thing that I might change, but as of now, it's pretty consistent. You just have to basically walk to the edge, basically climb down. Make sure you're in shift lock. I probably should say that. Shift lock down. Then you want to go diagonally with shift lock. So you're basically doing this like hover motion. Basically walk on the edge until you make it here. And that's pretty consistent, I'd say. Now you wanna... How I do that very easily is you wanna walk backwards and basically go back and forward until you get up here. Another one of those slip tricks. This is more of a non-obbying thing right here. We go around the corner. Do a jump there. An additional jump over here. Now you might be wondering, why did I carry this hold basically all around over here? Well, we can now make this jump. That's awkward. Like, really awkward. Let me try that again. We can now make this jump. Now, under more normal circumstances, this jump is, basically impossible. You need the speed from the hold to make it. And this is one of my favorite tricks right here. It's so unusual, but just simply genius that it really stands out. Hopefully I can get this first try. Come on. For the camera. No. Okay. We didn't quite get it, but once I get it, you'll see what I'm on about. There we go. We got it. So what exactly just happened? I have 0 stamina. And you might notice this translucent thing right here. That's a hold. Now, of course, I can make it to this truss, but what you need to basically focus on is that if you rush through, you'll basically be captured by this hold. I'll be wondering, okay, well, I'm here. Oh, yeah, it doesn't let you. And then you instead get thrown out. And it's also a quick time event because it sends you to the zip line prematurely. And you'll see what I mean by that later. So you have to do this wrap. This ladder wrap is super easy if you've done hobbies, but if you haven't, it's yet another hurdle. This is a bit of a... Yeah. You've been training your intuition to press space as soon as possible, but you want to really space out your spaces. Until you get to the correct... You want to get as far away from the grip as possible. And if you don't get the space you want to keep pressing space until you do. Eventually you get up here. Very nicely. Now, what has been this zipline I've been hyping up all this time? Well, it's quite simple. I go here, and then I go into the zipline. Because I then no longer trigger the crumble. Now I died there, but basically you need this in order to get to the next zip line. So I'm over here, and I have enough stamina to make it over here. Now I will get to this next section later, but if you instead go on the zipline early, you activate this crumble late, and you have to wait around because you can no longer get onto this crumble until it regenerates. I've been toying around the fact that maybe you're able to make this jump, but I'm not quite sure that that's possible. I really would have to test it a bit more, and I would patch it accordingly if that's possible, but at the moment, the only clear cheese that basically skips this entire section is by just going for it and basically trying to preserve as much momentum as possible. And yeah, it doesn't work out usually. But if it does work out, you get this hold. Now this is a bit of a trap. If you press space, then you lose instantly because, well, you're immune to out of bounds while holding something. But if you press space, you lost that immunity. And the final obstacle. This is really easy, but I thought it was pretty cool. And you get to sit on a throne. As of now, there's no verifiers, and I hope someone verifies it. It'd be pretty cool if someone did. In general, let's like rank the top 3 hardest sections. This thing right here, hardest thing by far. I put this at number 2. I'd say it's honestly this release hold jump. It's netted though, so maybe not. In terms of things that will actually end your run, I'd say this fling that will end your run most of the time. This thing isn't that bad because the zip line, you can actually jump from the zip line to the thing if you mess up. Now, let me demonstrate that. It's a pretty precise jump, but the point is that is possible. Now, as for the rankings with the whole list and whatnot, at the moment, people are putting it at an 8.6, which puts it at roughly like top 3. Now, I believe this will probably be top 4 by the end of all of this. So yeah, it could be top 1. It could be top 1, but I highly doubt that. If it really is top 1, then either I've been practicing this map so much that it's basically been not so bad for me, or the glitches that I thought were consistent aren't so consistent once people have started grinding them. Anyway, that with that out of the way, I do want to say that this game is kind of dying. It is dying at a slow pace, but it is rapidly declining. I thought this community would be quite vibrant, but I guess judgment got the best of me. What I want to tell anyone who's doing anything related to climbing game, just grind these maps out. There's a bunch of them out right now. Some of them are really hard, some of them are not. Just grind them, even if it won't put you in the top spot. Grinding them will show us that you care about this community and you want to see more of this. So stay tuned and hope you enjoyed today's video. Goodbye.